Okay, if we can have your attention, we'll call to order the annual board meeting. This is a carryover from the last meeting where we were adjourned or recessed, until today. So this is the December 16th, 2022 meeting. Supervisor Clary, prayer please.
Dear Father, we gather here together at the end of the year. It's entering the season. And we celebrate with you. Thank you for guiding us through the past 20 years. Amen.
Thank you, Sue.
Please rise to the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In case of fire or other emergency, there's 3 exits through, there, and there. In case of such emergency, please proceed to their nearest exit, find the nearest stairway, get out of the building, and exit the building and go as far away from the building as you can so rescue squads and emergency squads can do their job. If you need special assistance in getting down, please contact one of us for assistance. Thank you. And please silence your cell phones for the meeting.
Thank you, Dave. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hankey.
Here.
Ms. Fedler.
Here.
Mr. Ferguson. Mr. Shaw. Mr. Hall.
Here.
Mr. Fisher.
Here.
Mr. Hicks.
Here.
Mr. Nolan.
Here.
Mr. O'Brien.
Here.
Mr. Half.
He's on.
Mr. Campo.
Here.
Mr. Skelly. Mr. Hogan.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mrs. Clary.
Here.
Mr. Griffith.
Here.
Mr. Rozell.
Mr. Half is here.
We got you. At what time do we start it? Did we?
10:05.
10:05? Okay. What do we got here? We got 2 minutes here before we can actually start the public hearing on these local laws, so we'll give it the 2 minutes in case somebody wants to join.
Probably, if you want to.
Okay. So we have the public hearing on parcels requesting inclusion in the certified ag districts. We'll ask the clerk to read the notice, please.
Washington County Board of Supervisors notice a public hearing on parcels requesting inclusion in certified agricultural districts. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the County Board of Supervisors of Washington County, State of New York, at Washington County Office Building B in the town of Fort Edward on the 16th day of December, 2022 at 10:05 a.m. on said day to consider approving the following parcels requesting inclusion in certified agricultural districts pursuant to Chapter 523 of the laws of 2003. Chapter 523 of the laws of 2003 amended New York State Ag and Markets Law to provide that any county containing a certified agricultural district shall designate an annual 30-day period within which a landowner may submit to such body a request for inclusion of land which is predominantly viable agricultural land within a certified agricultural district prior to the established review period. Such requests also require a public hearing. By order of the Board of Supervisors, November 23rd, 2022.
Okay, we will now open the public hearing for the certified ag districts at 10:06. Does anyone from the public have anything or comments on it? Anybody on the board?
I have one. I have one comment
You have one
that
comment?
was submitted from Galen Syrup on the Lakeside Farm properties. This letter is in objection to the inclusion of Lakeside Farm properties in the agricultural district. As of November, the town planning board found the property in violation of the Putnam site plan law and referred enforcement to the Putnam Town Board. The owners placed 4 40-foot shipping containers on their property directly across from their neighbors so as to block the view of Lake Champlain. This is an ongoing dispute over the owner's dogs freely running despite the leash law. This placement is just another salvo to get back. With over 400 acres, there is plenty of room out of the district site path to place them, but they still need an approval. To grant approval will just intensify the feud and not serve any agricultural purpose. The owner's assumption is that with the property in the agricultural district, he can, with impunity, continue to fight with no local controls. Please visit the site and question the local background before making your decision. Thank you for your time and consideration, Galen Syrup.
Thank you, and I'll ask again, is there any any comments or any, Supervisor Wilson, do you have anything you want to add to that, the public hearing? No?
Those comments are Galen Sir's comments, and,
Okay. Very good. Anybody else in the audience? Third time, have anything to add to the public hearing? Seeing none or hearing none, we will close the public hearing on the certified ag districts at 10:07. We will now move on to public hearing on introductory law, local law E of 2022. Clerk will read the notice, please.
Notice is hereby given that the Washington County Board of Supervisors will hold a public hearing on December 16, 2022 at 10:05 a.m. to consider the adoption of proposed introductory local law E of 2022 concerning establishing a rate schedule of charges for the discharge of sewage into the Washington County Sewer District Number 1 sewerage system and all sewers tributary thereto for the fiscal year 2023. Copies of said local law E of 2022 are available on the county website. Please take further notice that comments for the public hearing portion of the public hearing can also be sent in advance of the meeting via email or mail by order of the Board of Supervisors dated November 23rd, 2022.
Okay, the introductory local law E of 2022 for the public hearing has been read. Is there any comment? We'll open at 10:07. Any comments from the audience? Any that we received in the mail or anything? So we're all set there. I'll ask again, is there any comment from anyone in the audience regarding the local law E, introductory? See none, we will close at 10:08. On local law E. Thank you.
Notice is hereby given that the Washington County Board of Supervisors will hold a public hearing on December 16, 2022 at 10:05 a.m. to consider the adoption of proposed introductory local law F of 2022 concerning establishing a rate schedule of charges for the discharge of sewage into the Washington County Sewer District Number 2 sewerage system and all sewers tributary thereto for the fiscal year 2023. Copies of said introductory local law F of 2022 are available on the county website. By order of the Board of Supervisors, dated November 23rd, 2022.
Okay, it's 10:09, and we will open up the public hearing on introductory law, local law F of 2022. Does anyone have any comments? Anyone have any comments? All right then, we will close at 10:09 on local law F. Public hearing on introductory local law G of 2022.
Notice is hereby given that the Washington County Board of Supervisors will hold a public hearing on December 16, 2022 at 10:05 a.m. to consider the adoption of proposed introductory local law G of 2022 concerning the salaries of the county administrator, county attorney, commissioner of social services, superintendent of public works, sheriff, county clerk, county treasurer, director of real property tax services, coroner, election commissioners, and personnel officer for calendar year 2023. Copies of said introductory local law G of 2022 are available on the county website. By order of the Board of Supervisors, dated November 23rd, 2022.
Hey, does anyone have any comments on local law G of 2022? Any comments, concerns on local law G of 2022?
Did you say it's open? Or?
It's open, yes.
Yeah, okay.
I think I opened it to begin with there, but yes, it was opened up. So, okay, seeing none, then we will close the local law hearing for local law G at 10:11. And we will open the public hearing on introductory local law H of 2022, and the clerk will read the notice, please.
Notice is hereby given that the Washington County Board of Supervisors will hold a public hearing on December 16, 2022 at 10:05 a.m. to consider the adoption of proposed introductory local law H of 2022. Pursuant to New York Civil Practice Law and Rules Section 802148, providing for an increase in fees for recording, entering, indexing, and endorsing a certificate on any instrument. Copies of said introductory local law H of 2022 are available on the county website. By order of the Board of Supervisors dated November 23rd, 2022.
Okay, so local law H has been opened, and we will ask if there are any questions or concerns. Does anyone in the audience have any questions or concerns? Any questions or concerns? Any questions or concerns? Seeing none or hearing none, we will close the introductory law public hearing for local law H of 2022 at, what do we got here? Haven't got it. So we'll go with that one up there, which is 10:13. And now we will move on to, thank you, Deb. We will move on to retirement recognitions. We have, I believe, 4 of those today. And we will start with Dale Dodge from the corrections from October 2022. He retires 13 years and 1 month. Dale, would you come forward, please? Sheriff Murphy will accept on Dale's behalf, and the chairman of the Public Safety Committee, Darrell, would you come up, please? Supervisor Wilson, to do his presentation. Would you do the honors, please?
Just like to, on behalf of the entire Board of Supervisors and Public Safety Committee, congratulate Dale on his retirement. It's a significant accomplishment, and I hope he gets to enjoy the things that he likes to do the most. And we really appreciate all his service and his dedication to the mission. So, Sheriff, if you would, pass it along.
The next we have is DPW. We have Kenneth Kopchik. I believe he's here as well. And Supervisor Brian, third ranking member in that committee. Would you come up, please? The chair, Mr. Haff, is doing the Zoom today, so he'd have been the next in line, but if you would fill that honor, we'd appreciate it. Now you know why he didn't wear a Santa outfit.
You earned it. Kenny's been a great asset to our department, and we greatly miss him, just enjoying his time.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay, and DSS, Wendy Austin and Sue, Chairman of Human Health Services, would you come up, please?
I want to thank Wendy Austin for your service to human services, and we know that not only you got, but they will well. And thank you, Wendy, for all the
And then we have Leslie Gordon. Is Leslie here with us? Tim, yeah, there he is. Come on up, Les. Tim, and, Darrell, can you come back up, please? Yes. Chair of the Public Safety Committee. Thank you.
Don't we need, like a resolution to allow this to occur or something like that? Thank you for your service. And, anybody who, is involved in public safety understands that, the tremendous hard work and dedication that goes into that. And, we're gonna miss you, sir. But more importantly, I really hope you are able to spend the time that you want to spend the time in retirement And, the county, the citizens of the county greatly appreciate everything you've done. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trent.
Thank you, everyone. It's always great to know that we have the employees that serve a tenure here so that they can get a retirement and serve our residents in our town as well as they do. And we're so appreciative of that. COVID-19 update, Tim Hardy, please.
Grab that computer.
There you go. Okay, so I will be delivering the final board address of the COVID-19 report. We have a special request to call to the discussion. Health and Human Services Committee. And happy to report that the numbers are coming down from where they've been the last couple of weeks. We're down to 62 active cases this morning and 5 hospitalizations. Sad to report that we did have 2 COVID-related deaths in the last week, a 77-year-old resident and a 93-year-old resident. But flu A is very high. Public health said the numbers are high as they've seen them. And obviously, a lot of our local schools are.
I'm sorry, we can't hear you very well.
Yes, probably should, Tim.
Bring your computer now. Tim, bring your computer. Tim, bring the laptop.
Or just
hit
make,
the mic.
move the microphone closer.
Well,
Can you hear me now?
There we go, all right.
All right. So this morning, we have 62 active COVID-19 cases in the county, 5 active hospitalizations, and we've had 2 recent deaths in the past week. A 77-year-old resident and a 93-year-old resident, both from confirmed COVID-19 related cases. Public Health is continuing to do their vaccinations every week on Wednesday by appointment only. At the Public Health Office, testing is continuing as well. We do still have plenty of the over-the-counter test kits available, so anyone in need, please come to the county building, come to Public Health, call Public Safety. We will get you those test kits. Any of the ones with printed expiration dates of December of 2022. If they're purple and white and they came from the county, they have been extended to June of 2023. So they are not bad as of now. Public Health just wants everyone to know that flu A cases are very high as of late. That's probably the most thing they're dealing with right now. And a lot of our local schools obviously are dealing with a lot of cases of flu. There are some cases of RSV and obviously COVID still going around. They're encouraging anyone to stay home who's not feeling well, mask up. And thank you for the opportunity to report and thank Public Health for continuing to do what they do. Information will continue on the county website. It will not have local case information after January. As soon as told you all, Public Health Committee, that is going to change how that information is reported out. It will have links to state data and the federal data. We'll continue to put vaccination information up there and anything else relative to COVID.
Okay, any questions of Tim? Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Tim, I have a question. Sam, I have a
Dan has
question.
Yep, gotcha, sorry.
Tim, in the very beginning, did you say this was your final COVID report?
This is the final regular report to the board, which was discussed at Health and Human Services.
Thank you.
There's a special.
Thank you for your years of business.
Appreciate that. Public Health has a hard job, though. Just have to read the information to give you.
Thanks, Tim. Okay. So the condensed minutes, the minutes of the November 21st meeting are accepted as mailed unless there are any additions or corrections. Are there any additions or corrections? Seeing or hearing none, we will move on to communications.
For communications from the Adirondack Park Local Government Review Board, communication in support of an increase of snowmobile registration fees that are used to maintain and groom trails. That's all I have for communications.
Okay, thank you, Deb. Committee reports, we will start with the audit report.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to introduce the audit committee has completed a review of the bills and forwards them to the full board for approval, and recommending approval of the bills. The amount was $2,868,102.21.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the audit. Do we have a second? Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Hogan, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Nolan. I think that's it. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried. We will now move on to the schedule of tax reports. Do we have a motion to move that? Move it. Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have a second? Supervisor Hanke, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried. We now will move on to the supervisor's privilege of the floor. Would anyone like to have the privilege of the floor out there in the audience? Going once? Going twice? Anyone interested? 3 times. Okay, so seeing none, we will move on to the introduction of resolutions, and we will read results only unless requested otherwise, starting with resolution number 304.
Resolution number 304 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Hass, Hicks, Feather, Skelly, Hogan, Wilson, Griffith, title authorized purchase of property located adjacent to county-owned highway barn in the town of Easton on Route 40. Resolved, the Chairman of the Board of Supervisors is hereby authorized to execute those documents necessary for the closing herein in a form approved by the county attorney, and be it further resolved that the county treasurer is hereby authorized and directed to disperse those funds necessary for the purchase upon presentation of the closing statement and deed transfer as approved by the county attorney.
Thank you. On to the consideration of the resolutions. And we'll start with resolution number 274.
Resolution number 274 by Supervisors Griffith, Campbell, Hicks, O'Brien, Shaw, Skelly, title approved parcels requesting inclusion in certified agricultural districts pursuant to Chapter 523 of the laws of 2003.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution 274.
Moved by Supervisor Griffith. Do we have second? Supervisor Hanke, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor O'Brien, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Yes.
I'd just like to point out that the parcel under consideration in this resolution, the parcel is not the same parcel mentioned in, Mr. Sirup's letter. The parcel of land that's in question related to Mr. Sirup's comments is already considered an ag district, another parcel of land altogether.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other further discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 275 by Supervisor Hogan, titled to adopt introductory local law E of 2022.
Chairman, moving resolution number 275.
Moved by Supervisor Hogan. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanke, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Nolan. Okay, seeing none, is there any discussion? Then we'll do a roll call, please.
Mr. Hanke?
Yes.
Mrs. Fedler?
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Hicks?
Yes.
Mr. Nolan?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Happ?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Clary? Yes. Mr. Griffith?
Yes.
Mr. Rozell?
How did he drop? We showed down at the bottom of the screen that he's there, but his picture's not there. John, can you hear us? I think you're muted at your end.
I can hear you.
Okay. We couldn't hear you, I'm sorry. We can't get your picture here, so we don't know if you raised your hand or if you voted yes or nay on that.
It's a yes.
Thank you.
The resolution is adopted, 4,312 yes, 378 absent. Resolution number 276 by Supervisor Fisher, titled to adopt introductory local law F of 2022.
Mr. Chairman, move in resolution number 276.
Moved by Supervisor Fisher. Do we have a second? Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Nolan. Do we have any discussion? If not, we'll do a roll call, please.
Mr. Hanky?
Yes.
Mrs. Fedler?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Hicks?
Yes.
Mr. Nolan?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Half?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Clary? Yes. Mr. Griffith?
Yes.
Mr. Rozell?
Yes.
The resolution is adopted, 4,312 yes, 378 absent. Resolution number 277 by Supervisors O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Wilson, Fisher, titled to adopt introductory local law H of 2022.
Supervisor O'Brien,
Yes.
do you want to move that? Yes, that, okay, he moves it. I have a second by Supervisor Henke. Any other second? Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Nolan. Any other discussion? Okay, see none, we'll, move on to roll call, please.
Mr. Hanky?
Yes.
Mrs. Fedler?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes?
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Hicks?
Yes.
Mr. Nolan?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Half?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Clary? Yes. Mr. Griffith?
Yes.
Mr. Rozell?
Yes.
The resolution is adopted, 4,312 yes, 378 absent. Resolution number 278 by Supervisor Hall, titled to set date of organizational meeting.
I move, Supervisor Hall moves, resolution number 278, please. Do you have seconds? Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 279 by Supervisor Skelly, Half, O'Brien, Fedler, Shaw, Wilson, title, a resolution authorizing the implementation and funding in the first instance 100% of the federal aid and state Marshall program aid eligible costs of a transportation federal aid project and appropriating funds therefore, Church Street over Meadowy River, Village of Granville.
Supervisor Half, could you move that, please?
This is not the Shushan Bridge, so I'd be more than happy.
All right, moved by Supervisor Half. Do we have a second? Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Wilson. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 280 by Supervisors Wilson, Hogan, Half, Hicks, O'Brien, Clary, title to set fee for coroner costs, transport to Glens Falls Hospital.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution number 280.
Moved by Supervisor Wilson. Do we have a second, please? Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Clary. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 281 by Supervisors Wilson, Hogan, Half, Hicks, O'Brien, Clary, title to make appointment, reappointment to the Washington County EMS Advisory Board.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution number 281.
Moved by Supervisor Wilson. Do we have any seconds? Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 282 by Supervisor Skelly, Half, O'Brien, Fedler, Shaw, Wilson, title to authorize interfund loan to County Road Fund.
Supervisor O'Brien. No, excuse me, Supervisor Half, I apologize.
Moving 282.
Seconds, please. Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Campbell. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Carried.
Resolution number 283 by Supervisors Clary, Campbell, Fedler, Shaw, Skelly, Wilson, titled to make appointment to the Washington County Community Services Board.
Chairman, moving resolution number 283.
Moved by Supervisor Clary. Do we have seconds, please? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Wilson. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 284 by Supervisors Clary, Campbell, Fedler, Shaw, Skelly, Wilson, title appoint member to the Washington County OFA Advisory Council.
Chairman, moving resolution number 284.
Moved by Supervisor Clary. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 285 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Feather, Skelly, Clary, Roselle, Griffith, titled to adopt introductory local law G of 2022.
Moving resolution number 285.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have any seconds, please? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Nolan. Okay, is there any discussion? Seeing none or hearing none, we will call for a roll call, please.
Mr. Hanky.
Yes.
Mrs. Fedler.
Yes.
Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Mr. Fisher.
Yes.
Mr. Hicks.
Yes.
Mr. Nolan.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Mr. Half.
Yes.
Mr. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Hogan. Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Mrs. Clary.
Yes.
Mr. Griffith.
Yes.
Mr. Rozell.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted, 4,312 yes, 378 absent. Resolution number 286 by Supervisor Skelly, Half, O'Brien, Fedler, Shaw, Wilson, titled to raise minimum daily charge for carpools.
Moving 286.
Moved by Supervisor Half. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Campbell. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 287 by Supervisors Clary, Campbell, Fedler, Shaw, Skelly, Wilson, titled to award mini bid number 11719 vehicles for Public Health Department.
Chairman, moving resolution number 287, please.
Moved by Supervisor Clary. Do we have seconds, please? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Wilson. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 288 by Supervisors Fedler, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Wilson, titled to award bid 2022-31 Law Center roof replacement.
Moving resolution 288.
Moved by Supervisor Fedler. Do we have seconds, please? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Hogan. I'm sorry, excuse me, Supervisor Nolan. I apologize for that. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 289 by Supervisor Hall, titled to reappoint member to the Washington County Soil and Water Conservation District Board.
I will move, Supervisor Hall will move resolution number 289, please. Seconds from Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Wilson. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 290 by Supervisor Hall, titled to reappoint member to the Lake Champlain, Lake George Regional Planning Board.
Supervisor Hall will move resolution number 290. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 291 by Supervisors Wilson, Hogan, Hicks, O'Brien, Clary, titled to adopt Washington County Domestic Terrorism Prevention Plan.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution number 291.
Moved by Supervisor Wilson. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Clary. Is there any discussion? All in favor? I missed you. Sorry, Dana. Go ahead.
I am in opposition to this because the title tells you all you need to know, domestic terrorism. I'm in favor of a terrorism prevention plan. but not domestic, because I think those are political words aimed at political enemies of the government, which might be me, for all I know.
Thank you, Supervisor Haft. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 292 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Feather, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Wilson, Griffith, titled to amend capital project number 127, Church Street Bridge number 2 for Marchicelli Supplemental Aid number 4.
Moving 292.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Clary. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 293 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Feather, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Wilson, Griffith, title amend Sheriff's Department budget for explosive detection K-9 team grant.
Moving resolution 293.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Clary. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 294 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Feather, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Wilson, Griffith, title to establish reserve opioid litigation.
Moving 294.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have any seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Clary, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Supervisor Hogan.
This is not 294, correct? I apologize. Roger, is there anything in there about these, settlement numbers that they had to be used for in the future?
All the settlements are restricted to various categories of treatment and/or programs addressing addiction.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any further questions, discussion?
I have a
All in
question.
favor, aye?
I have a question.
Hold on, got one more here. Dana's got one. Supervisor Haft.
Roger, did you say all the funds are used in treatment, nothing in prevention, like interdicting fentanyl or anything like that? It's all for treatment?
No, it's treatment, prevention, addressing opioid addiction services. So they can be spent for treatment, they can be spent for prevention, they just have to be spent on that subject line, and guidelines will be coming down from the state pretty soon as to how we can spend them. There's a couple different pots of money. This is what we're doing with our particular local pot. There'll be some other state pots we can apply for. To analogize this, the reason there are all these restrictions is because the last major settlement we did in tobacco didn't have restrictions, and people were upset that that money got spent statewide for things not related to tobacco cessation or anything. So they've been very
Nothing on enforcement.
I don't believe there's anything specifically on enforcement, but we haven't seen the guidelines from the state yet. So I think the major focus, however, has been on this thing, prevention and treatment.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 295 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Feather, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Wilson, Griffith, title authorize out-of-state travel, Treasurer's Office, and Information Technology.
Moving 295.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have a second? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Seeing or hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 296 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Hicks, Feather, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Wilson, Griffith, title, a resolution authorizing the implementation and funding in the first instance 100% of the federal aid and state Marchicelli program aid eligible costs of a transportation federal aid project and appropriating funds therefore, CR 61 Bridge over the Battenkill.
Moving 296.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Clary, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Supervisor Haft.
I will be a no vote because this project, the county used eminent domain.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Is there any other discussion? See none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Carried.
Resolution number 297 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Wilson, Griffith, titled to amend capital project number 126, County Route 61 Bridge over Battenkill, Shushan Bridge for Marcia Selly Supplemental Aid number 5.
Moving 297.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have any seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Any comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Carried. Opposed is Supervisor Half. Still carried.
Resolution number 298 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Feather, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Wilson, Griffith, titled to amend general fund for American Rescue Plan Act revenues.
Moving resolution number 298.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 299 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Feather, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Wilson, Griffith, titled to levy taxes required for purposes of annual budgets in the towns of Washington County.
Moving resolution 299.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Seeing or hearing none, we will do a roll call, please.
Mr. Hanky?
Yes.
Mrs. Fedler?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Hicks?
Yes.
Mr. Nolan?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Half?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Clary? Mr. Griffith?
Yes.
Mr. Rozell?
Yes.
The resolution is adopted, 4,312 yes, 378 absent. Resolution number 300 by Supervisor Campbell, titled to ratify agreement between Washington County and New York State Nurses Association for years 2023 through 2025 for employees of the Public Health Department.
Moving resolution number 300.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have seconds, please? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Then we will move into a roll call, please.
Mr. Hanky?
Yes.
Mrs. Fedler?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Hicks?
Yes.
Mr. Nolan?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Half?
No.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Clary? Mr. Griffith?
Yes.
Mr. Rozell? The resolution is adopted, 4,129 yes, 183 no, and 378 absent. Resolution number 301 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Feather, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Wilson, Griffith, title to authorize agreement with Benetech for health insurance broker services, consulting and administrative services, March 2023 to February 2025.
Moving resolution number 301.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Seconds, please. Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Clary, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Seeing or hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 302 by Supervisor Campbell, title ratify agreement between Washington County and the Washington County Sheriff's Association, PBA, for years 2023 through 2025.
Yes. Moving resolution number 302.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Any comments? Seeing and hearing none, we will do a roll call, please.
Mr. Hanky?
Yes.
Mrs. Fedler?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Hicks?
Yes.
Mr. Nolan?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Half?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Clary? Mr. Griffith?
Yes.
Mr. Rozell?
yes,
The resolution is adopted, 4,312 yes, 370. Yep, 378 absent. Resolution number 303 by Supervisors Hicks, Skelly, O'Brien, Fedler, Clary, Wilson, titled to adopt staffing pattern for all Washington County departments.
Moving 303.
Moved by Supervisor Hicks. Do we have seconds, please? Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Clary. Is there any discussion? Any comments? Seeing and hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 304 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Hogan, Wilson, Griffith, titled to authorize purchase of property located adjacent to county-owned highway barn in the town of Easton on Route 40.
Moving resolution 304.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Second by Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion or comments? Seeing or hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. And that concludes our resolutions. Now, supervisors' comments, I want to do this one so I don't forget to do it as we get near the end. So there will be a shared services panel meeting immediately following this meeting in the chambers. So please, if you're stay on live, and everyone, please just stay here. It shouldn't take long, but we do need to have that. That's the shared panel meeting today, if we can maintain the quorum. So thank you. Any other supervisor comments? We'll start with Matt, please.
I just have to say, in Supervisor Skelly's absence today, Supervisor Haft did an amazing job moving things and through the floor. And that next year's chairman should consider him for a committee chairmanship for the amazing job he did. Just a comment.
It's always nice to hear something like that, Matt. Thank you very much. Your Christmas card is in the mail.
It will be ticking.
Any other supervisor comments? Supervisor Wilson.
I would just like to thank and commend all the first responders that participated in an incident in the town of Putnam on Wednesday, this past week. For those who don't know, it's kind of the things that movies are made of. A propane truck overturned, valve leaking, fire started, and a trapped, driver, all happening at the same time. And, a little bit by the fact that incident command was handled so well, multiple jurisdictions and fire departments and responders from state all the way down to local level responded. More will come out about this, but everything came together. By a little bit of the grace of God, everything turned out all right. Although from the point of incident, somewhere around right before lunchtime till about 3 a.m. on Thursday morning to resolve the issue. So great thanks. And again, to all those who participated. The list is long, by the way, but well done. We exercised just about every aspect of emergency response during that day. Thank you.
Thank you, Darrell. They did a great job as usual, and it was a good team effort. Other supervisors' comments. Supervisor Henke.
I just wanted to mention that we had the Argyle Country Christmas. Somebody came down. We had, in spite of the fact it was a snotty day or evening, cold and snowy, we had the venues that kept track had well over 200 people going up and everything from making letters to Santa Claus at our office, which Santa Claus is going to have to answer. But we had a gingerbread house competition. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Really amazing spreads done. And people with, tractors and hay wagons driving people around back and forth. It was really a nice thing. We haven't done anything that nice in quite a long time. I want to thank the people that organized that, helped out with it. We had, well over 200 people attending on it. It was not nice.
Bob. Is there any other? Supervisor Campbell?
Yeah, another year is almost in the books since our last, official board meeting, other than our, regular meetings, our culture meetings coming on the 20th. Just want to thank all our department heads and everyone we work with here. I mean, there is a human element to all of this. I thank all our employees and wish them all a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday Season. We appreciate all of you and forward to another great year.
Thank you, Brian. Any other supervisors' comments? Larry?
I want to thank the West County Public Safety and Highway Crew for doing the educational training for the local schools on safety. Listen, they like to have those big trucks out in the school yards and reviewing the other thing regarding the shooting bridge, I do my visit down there frequently because in the shack is where we buy our meat. He's right in the corner, and if you want any information, that's where you go. And you can totally,
Hi, John. How are you?
everything has worked out very well, except for an upside down car, which is now is off to the county level. It's there's always something to talk about in the Hamlet execution. That's the top, is the upside down. Private property, we all know that, but still, you know, that's where you let it there, and it's the top. The bridge looks great, they're doing a terrific job. Thank you from all of us.
Thank you, Sue. Any other comments? I would like to wish all the supervisors and their families here a great holiday season, a Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. I'd like to personally thank all of our department heads, all of our employees, and a special thank to the Board of Supervisors as we came back to a semi-normal year this year and were able to get some things done and accomplished without the interference of COVID. And I really appreciate the fact that although we may have some differences on the way that we feel about issues, that we work those issues out, we do it in a civil manner, and it's not a public spectacle it's put on for the world to see, and I really appreciate that. So thank you very much. Bob?
One thing I forgot. Hunting this year, I didn't have enough of any one kind. So the light color is locust, the dark color is buckwheat. It doesn't mean anything, depending on which color you got, it's not that. Treating everybody different, completely different. I would come out of the box. I can see people wondering why there's a different color than somebody else.
Why is mine clear?
Yours is dark.
All right. So if there's nothing else to come before the board at this point in time, and every supervisor's been heard for the year end here, once again, Merry Christmas to all of you, and travel safe if you're traveling. And thank you for making the effort to get here today. I know that Deb and I discussed yesterday, and Roger, how we could make this thing work. And we appreciate the 5 who had volunteered to come in the bad weather so we could have a quorum, which would enable us, because of the weather, to then do a Zoom meeting and still hold our meeting. So thank everybody for your cooperation. We certainly appreciate that. We will adjourn this meeting. Thank you. And now if I could ask